folks, welcome back to Game Geeks. I'm your host, Kurt Wiegel. Today's episode, Scion Companion. This finishes the current batch of hard copy lines for the Scion role-playing game. What we've had so far are Scion Hero, Demigod, God, and Scion Ragnarok. This is the Scion Companion. These were originally launched as some PDFs available through DriveThruRPG that they just cleaned up a bit, put into nice hard copy, and sold to you in case you didn't want to buy the PDFs and you wanted the Dead Tree copy. This, to me, to be very honest with you, is a mixed bag. There's some things in this I like a lot. There are some things in this that I'm like, really? Did we need that? I mean, damn. So let's get into what's in this book. This book breaks down into a few really elementary things. One, it gives you a couple of new pantheons to choose from. I'm going to mention two of them up front, and then I'm going to mention the ones that I don't like toward the end of the review. The ones that are up front that I do like, you've got the Tuatha De Danann, and if I just mispronounced that, I'm very sorry. I'm not Irish, I'm German. Yeesh. The Irish pantheon, essentially. What you have in there are the Irish gods of legend, how they interact with the Scion community as a whole, the usual breakdown, the powers that come with them, the abilities, their rivals, etc. Then there's the next chapter deals specifically with the Chinese pantheon, the celestial bureaucracy. And that's an entirely new pantheon. Again, it breaks down the individual gods, how they fit into the grand scheme of things. It gives you some more secrets of what's going on in the world. Manifestations of Ichor, which is one of the things I don't like. Basically, it's just more fluff, more powers for your Scions to play with, like you didn't have enough already through the various books. More of the epic attributes that you can get with this, some more of the powers or the purviews that come with each one. Then we get into the stuff that I'm really not so fond of, to be perfectly frank with you. The one I'm okay with is using Scions in a different period. The default setting for Scion is modern era. It's really an urban fantasy game when you get right down to it, just a fairly complex one with a specific focus. This gives you the idea of how to use your Scion game during World War II, which was not something I really thought of, but then I thought, well, you know, Hitler and the Nazis had this whole thing for sort of the Teutonic Norse mythology. You've got the Japanese mythology that was involved in that at various times and places. This could actually work. It could be interesting, although I'm not really sure who the protagonist would be. And then we get into what I really don't care for, which is American Scions. Now, the book apologizes for it. No, I'm sorry, not the right word. The book sort of sets it up right up front about what it is. But to be honest, I'm still not fond of it. For example, they let you play Scion, they're called the Yankee Pantheon, which is the legendary of America. So you've got things like Betsy Ross, or Brer Rabbit, Columbia, Johnny Appleseed, Paul Bunyan, John Henry, Uncle Sam, Rosie the Riveter. What's next? Elvis? Do we really need a Scion of all of these American pieces? I did not care for that, honestly. To me, Scion works best when it works as a applied mythology course, not necessarily a, I don't know, sort of like how to use the American legendary. But it doesn't stop there. No, children. It also gives you the British pantheon to choose from. Not the Tuatha De Danann. Again, still sorry for the mispronunciation. But you can be the Scion of Robin Hood. Did I just say that? Robin Hood? Yeah, folks, the Scion of Robin Hood. You also have the options of being some of the French pantheon in there as well. They set these up to give their World War II setting sort of protagonists and antagonists. I really don't like it, in case you haven't been able to tell that from my commentary so far. I thought that was the weakest part of the book. Not something I would have really wanted, not something I would use if I were to run a Scion game. Problems with Scion, it's still hellishly complicated. In my opinion. I also still think that there's a lot of playtesting that should have or didn't go on. But overall, it's a really good, specifically focused urban fantasy game. This bringing some more stuff to the table, more widgets and powers for you to play with, a couple of new pantheons that are useful, and a couple of pantheons that I'm still sort of going, at. So, the completion at this time of the hardbound Scion line. For Game Geeks, I'm your host, Kurt Wiegel. Good day and good gaming.